Hello everyone, this is Jeff Rocca, the Canny Financier, and as promised, today I thought I would tell you the story of the famous stock-picking toad of Osaka. Picture it, Japan in the late 80s, the time of the great stock bubble and the great real estate bubble where you could drop $100 bill on the ground and it would not pay for the land it covered. Of course, to be fair, where I live in the Bay Area, there are places you can do that with a 50, and I mean residential properties, not big office buildings, but this was the 80s back then, years of inflation ago. Anyway, there was a restaurant owner named Onoe Nui from Osaka, and very often late at night she would be visited in her restaurant by some of the great portfolio and fund managers from all over Japan. So one could be forgiven for thinking that she was selling something other than food. But in fact, she had a 3-foot wide statue of a frog, and she would perform a Buddhist seance and communicate the frog's investment advice. They would ask her, "Should we buy Toyota this week?" And she would say, "The frog says no." Why a Buddhist frog would care anything about the stock market is beyond me. You'd think a Taoist frog would be more useful. But at some point, Madame Nui was the largest individual shareholder in Japan and had a portfolio measured in billions of dollars. But then the bubble burst and she lost everything, and it transpired that she'd used some fraudulent bank statements as the basis for her entire fortune, and she went to prison for fraud. Unfortunately, no one knows what happened to the toad statue, and if you ask me, it really belongs in a museum. So, what lessons, if any, can we draw from this sordid tale of the excesses of a bubble? Well, they do say that millionaires don't employ astrologers, but billionaires do. Maybe investors do get some comfort in having some supernatural entity on their side. But as a value investor, I've always thought that a disciplined bottom-up approach with a due attention paid to margin of safety and possible accounting shenanigans will definitely produce necessary results without relying on it. Is that not so, Mr. Toad? Mr. Toad says yes.